Hi, welcome to Virtually Sunday, a production of Whatsoever You Do Incorporated in Green Bay, Wisconsin. My name's Tony Pickler.
I'm Steve Meyer, and this week, Tony, we are talking about Trinity Sunday. And wow, a lot of people get pretzeled up about Trinity, right?
Pretzeled up, I like
They
that
do.
term.
So there are people who accuse us of like worshiping multiple gods. They can't imagine three being one. And then there are others, even people with deep faith, who sort of give it a nod but ignore it entirely and go all in on Jesus.
So we're going to give it our best shot to work our way through this, what some people call a mystery, and some people dead end right there on that topic of, oh, it's just a mystery. So we'll do our best, huh?
Yeah, so let's start with this idea, right? The cornerstone of our faith. And in that first reading from Exodus this weekend, Moses is trudging up the hill with the tablets, returning to sender, I guess, and
Bringing it back to
bring
the
them back.
library.
And he encounters God, right? And previously encountered God, and God said, I identified as I am, the full expression of all that exists. Later in Revelations, he refers to himself as Alpha and Omega, all of everything, right? Now he's telling Moses, here's what you call me, Lord.
Lord.
Now that's a big word in that context. That means a lot.
Right. And it's interesting that most people, I'm going to assume most people, when they think of the word Lord, they automatically jump, I don't know, what is it, 3,500, 4,000 years later,
A while.
to Jesus, right? Jesus is Lord, as if that is the only Lord there ever was, ever will be. But it's interesting that back here in Moses' time, God is saying to Moses, no, I'm Lord. That's how he reveals himself and identifies himself.
And in multiple places in the gospel, we hear Jesus saying, especially in John, I and the Father are one.
Right.
All right, as the Father is one in me, I am one in you, and the oneness of it. So he's bringing it back together. And I think we struggle with Trinity a lot because we start with the pieces and then we try to Lego them together. And we're trying to figure out, how does this fit? A creator, flesh and blood, Jesus, and a Holy Spirit. How do these three things become one? I think it helps if we start at the other end of that. They start as one. There is this unit of oneness that is then expressed in three ways. And if we think of God as the Alpha, the Omega, the allness that we're given, then how is that expressed in the world? It's expressed physically, it's expressed ethereally, intellectually, imaginatively, and it's expressed spiritually. And it helps to understand that if I want to know you, right, I can't just know of you. I can't just know about you. I can't just know what you look like. I can't just know your flesh and blood. I have to know your mind, and I have to know your heart, and I have to know your soul.
And I wonder if that's why people get tripped up a lot, right? So they start with the parts. We've used all kinds of metaphors over the centuries to try to explain it and try to work our way towards the wholeness of it all, except that we get stuck. And we get stuck, and then we say, well, it's just a mystery. Just accept it. And I think that's why people, we get to Trinity Sunday, we don't really know what to do with it.
We don't.
It's just this thing we don't understand. We'd rather avoid it. And we kind of do avoid it for about 51 weeks of the year.
We do.
And this one particular Sunday, here we go. Let's celebrate the Trinity, this mystery we don't really understand.
And we're baptized into this thing, right? We're baptized in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. We're baptized into the wholeness of Trinity. It's the structure, the scaffolding of our entire creed is based on this. Tony, when I do marriage prep with couples, I talk about Trinity. And I'll say, look, a whole relationship has a creative, imaginative component. You have to create a life together. You have to create new life, right? And then I talk about the physical component of a relationship, flesh and blood. but then also about a shared spiritual component, that to be whole in relationship and marriage, you need to have a Trinitarian dimension.
So it sounds like, I mean, when it comes to wholeness, it comes to relationships, there is some complicatedness about it, right? I mean, there's some complexity of relationship.
You can use the word complicatedness if you
And I liked it as much as I liked you using Legoed.
Legoed is a verb. Yeah.
Right. So, but it does also remind me that, in terms of how we know people has different layers to it as well. So like when you talked about doing marriage prep, I mean, as you grow together, you discover different layers of that relationship. The relationship grows, it develops, and you are not the same people you were, 25 years later as you were in the day that you were.
Right.
So I learned a little bit of Spanish when I was in school. I wish I would have learned a lot more. But
You learned cerveza.
I did learn cerveza. Yes, I did. It's one of the first words I remember learning because I recall. No, what I did learn was that there are two primary words for knowing, to know. So in Spanish, to know is one form of it is conocer. And conocer basically means you know things about a person. You know where they're from. You might know their birthday. You might know who their family members are. You know what they do for a job. Like you just know things about them. But that's not really knowing the person. So that's conocer. Saber is to really know the person, the essence of the person, the richness, the depth of a person. Saber, Saber, a whole different level to Spanish-speaking people. And so I do think in terms of Trinity, back to that, there's two levels with that as well, right? We can know a lot of stuff about what we think we know about Trinity, but to really know is to a different.
So one of the things you bring up is how our language can limit our understanding.
Yeah.
Because in English, we have just one word for knowing, right? And I know in Spanish, you point out two, and I know some German, and in German, there's two. There's the knowing of information, knowing of place, sort of that sort of knowledge. But then there's a different word for to know a person, a relationship with somebody, to know them is to say, well, that's a different type of knowing. That relational, deep knowing of somebody, and we can't be happy or satisfied to just know about someone or know of someone. We're called to really know who they are as Trinitarian people created in the image and likeness of God, to really know the image of God that they are created to express into existence.
I think maybe that's a challenge for us on Trinity Sunday, is to look at our relationships. How open are we to, people at work? How open are we to people in the neighborhood? How open are we to people that we meet in passing? And how open are we to going beyond the conocer way of knowing to the deeper way of knowing? How open are we to that?
Yeah, how open are we to knowing who the Creator is reflecting through them, right? As a Trinitarian person, and also how open are we to allowing other people to get to know us? Right? Because we live in a world in which we can quickly become preoccupied with image. I just want you to know this idea or this notion about me, and to protect myself so that you don't see the wounds in my side or in my hands.
So we can put up some shields around ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't let people get too close or know too much about us. Yeah, no doubt about it.
So the Trinity Sunday really calls us to think deeply about how open we are to knowing others and to allowing ourselves to be fully known.
Absolutely. So as we celebrate this Trinity Sunday and we ponder our relationships and how well we know people and how well we let them know us, Steve, why don't you send us off with a blessing?
So interesting, if you pay attention to the form of this blessing that I use whenever I speak anywhere, it's Trinitarian. Right?
It definitely is.
It's God coming to us, stirring the heart within us, and flowing, into the world through us. So may the full love of the Trinity rain down upon you. May the full love of the Trinity stir the heart within you, and may the full love of the Trinity flow into this creation through you. Have a great week.
Thanks for being with us, everyone.